Hey, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Tundex back for another video. Today I just wanted to talk to you about a game I've been playing quite a bit of, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the Nintendo Switch. It is the first big RPG to fall on this system, and it's honestly a very good game. However, you gotta put in quite a bit of time for the game to actually open up and start to be fun, which is pretty sad. But that's just the gist of it. So, when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the opening of the game, if you saw my first two live streams of the game, it is just a slog. It just goes on forever. You're placed into a area where you don't have a lot of abilities. There's a big level 80 enemy running around and killing you in one shot when you got a mission that's over here that you got to take care of. You're dying to all the enemies because you don't have any good attacks. You don't have a lot of weapons. It's just the opening is so bad. It's horrible. And then you are bombarded with tutorial after tutorial after tutorial after tutorial. And it just seems like the game is never going to progress into something that is really fun. But something clicks around chapter 4 where everything really opens up and you can really get into the game. So I'm going to try to break down a lot of these things for you so you can know what I'm talking about. So first things first, I'm just going to get this stuff out of the way. The resolution of this game is dynamic. So while sometimes it looks really good and very clear and lush, and you look at the world that you're in and everything looks so great, other times things go down to a crawl and the resolution really struggles, especially if you play in handheld mode. Handheld mode is how I've played it primarily, and when I was initially playing I was just saying like, wow, this game really doesn't look that good. And then when I finally docked it and put it on my TV, I saw that, oh, this game does look good. But even while docked, it gets really blurry from time to time, and there's a lot going on. And the frame rate tries to stay at 30, but it doesn't stay at 30 at all times. So, I mean, it is what it is. A lot of people are saying, oh, this is bad because the Switch it can't even handle this RPG, blah, 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 blah. I think they just rushed it out, and they could have done some fixes to make it more stable of a game. But it's not bad. Don't let that turn you off. And if you do decide to play this game, I really recommend that you just keep on playing, because it's giving you just little piece after piece after piece to try to make you get more into it. When you first start off, all you can do is auto attack. You get to an enemy, you press the A button to pull out your sword, and they auto attack. You don't do anything. And as it progresses, you slowly start to get abilities, and you'll see that on the right side of the screen there's 3 different indicators over there for your arts, and on the left side there's 3 different indicators for your blade, and I'll get into that a little bit later. I totally forgot to mention this in the game, but as far as those things go, those buttons, you can switch between your different blades in the middle of the battle, and just like the meters fill up with the arts, they also fill up over time with the blades, and you can switch them out on the fly as long as the cooldown has completed. Back to the video. But when you get your arts, as you attack, you'll see a little meter start to fill up every single time you land an attack. Once that's full, you can use your arts. And I really compare this to MMOs and attacks and cooldowns. I'm playing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV, and there's certain moves that you use, and once you use it, you have to wait a certain amount of time before you can use it again. So that's kind of what this game is like. But you have 3 arts that you can use at a time as things progress. And as you progress your character, you won't have to wait to build up your arts the first time. You'll be able to just start off and have 1, 2, or even all 3 of them ready to go once the battle starts. But that's as the story progresses, as you unlock things, and so on and so forth. Once you get your first blade in the game, which a blade is not like a blade that you hold. A blade is these things. I'm just going to call them, it's like the personas or the Pokemon of this game. I'll say more of a persona. They give your characters, the drivers of the blades, they give them more power. They give them more abilities and arts and things of that nature. So once things fill up and once everything is opened up to you towards like chapter 4, you can have up to 3 blades at a time, and each of those blades has 3 arts. So that's 3 blades, 9 arts that you can use. And there's a lot of mixing and matching that you can do with your party. As far as things go, once it opens up, it's amazing. There's so much to think about, and the screen, I'll put some clips in here. The screen looks so freaking cluttered while you're trying to get through everything, but all the information is on the screen because you need it. It's a lot to keep up with if you don't have it there to look at for reference. For instance, once you use an art with one of your characters, let's say I used a fire art with Pyra. That's the main blade in this game. You use that, and it puts up this little skill tree on the top of the screen, and then it shows that you've used fire. Then you could use 2 different arts, and then from there it'll be 2 arts here and 2 arts here that you can use. And you have to keep up with these elements, and it's very important that you get these chains going with the different elements to get more power on your more powerful attacks to go out. On top of paying attention to the elemental chains, you need to pay attention to combos that you can do with just your regular arts with your characters as well. Let's say, for instance, there's about 3 different statuses that you can put onto your characters. There's break, that kind of puts the character into a state of they're kind of wobbly at that point. Then you can topple the character. Once you topple them, you just wail into them, and they're on the ground. They're defenseless. They can't do anything to defend themselves. So you just wail on them for a bit. From there, you can then launch them in the air, which looks pretty funny, especially for the bigger enemies. They just kind of go up in the air and spiral and spin. And then from there, it's like volleyball. You can spike them down into the ground for massive damage. So you're doing that with your arts. And while you're building up the arts, you're also building up a meter on the right side where it has, that would be your A button. That'll be your elemental drives that you can use. And once you do that, that's how you go into the combos that I talked about a few seconds ago. Once you finish a combo, once you get a level 3 all the way done, you can, what am I trying to say? Once you do a level 3, let's say you finish it and it was a water one, you're going to see a blue orb circling around the enemy, and that means he now has his defense up against water, so you need to do a different kind of combo. And it's good to get about 3 or 4 orbs on him. That's what I try to do when I'm fighting a boss. I try to get a lot of orbs spinning around him, so you can do what is called an elemental break, because you have to break down their defenses in order to be able to do more damage later on. So for an elemental break, you hit the plus button, and it goes into something that's more like what happened in the in Xenoblade 1, where you're controlling exactly what happens, and you have to use whatever the element is strong against the orbs that are there to break the orbs, to do massive damage, and to lower their defenses again, and you can start the cycle all over again. So the battle system is very, very, very in-depth, and there's so much to go with it. Once it opens up, it keeps you going, and it keeps you wanting to get more. I've talked about blades, saying that they are like the personas of the game, or Pokemon, gotta catch them all. So obviously there's so many things to do, and there's a lot of things to get in the game. The way that you get more blades is in the middle of a fight. Sometimes they drop a common core crystal or a rare core crystal, and those are the things that the characters they have to pick up And if they once they pick them up, if they're able to, in the story, some people pick them up and they try and there's too much power and they die. But the people who can, it'll call forth the blades. And the blades, they give the characters their weapons to use through them, and they kind of power up the driver and use their weapon or whatever. And you'll see it in the gameplay that I'm going to provide. But in order to get more, you pick up the core crystals from battles or from treasure chests that you found around the open world, and you resonate with it, and out pops a new blade. That is a good thing and an annoying thing at the same time. You end up having droves and droves and droves of common blades that are kind of annoying, to be real with you. You get the same common rabble of, they look like some kind of metallic android type things. Either that or the little dog people. And they're male and female, and there's like a big brute looking one. But they all look the same. They just have different weapons. They could be a sword, it could be an axe, what else? Like a little ball, a cannon, a hammer. There's a lot of different things you can do with these blades when they pop up. But what you really want is the rare blades. These are the ones that have a bigger aptitude to be much stronger, and they have their own opening cutscenes that are pretty cool. But it just gets really annoying where you're sitting here. It's like the loot boxes on like Overwatch or something. You keep on going, you keep on trying to get something that is worthwhile, and then you keep getting common. Then all of a sudden, boom, you get a rare one that's awesome. But it's a healing type, and you got it on somebody that's a tank. Ugh. It's frustrating. Very, very frustrating. But I mean, that's just the system of the game, and it's how it works. But with all of that, once you get a whole lot of blades, you can only have 3 on each character at a time. So what are you going to do with the 40 that are just sitting over here waiting? There's something called mercenary missions that you get throughout the game. I think that's around chapter 4 as well, when I said everything opens up. And you can send them out to... This actually helps you with your relationship with different places that you go. Every place has a development level, and you can kind of build up the development level for the area that you're in by doing missions to help them out, like say gathering wood or whatever. You don't want to do that yourself. You send out the blades that are just sitting around doing nothing, and they go and do it while you're still doing your main mission. And when they come back, they get points that raise up their affinity chart, which is kind of like, that's just how they power up. You'll see some of that in here as well. But they power up from that, and that way you can switch into some of the other blades if you want to, and they won't just be sitting around not getting any power. So always, 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 once you unlock it, keep sending them out to get experience, and pay attention to when you rank up, because it's not going to rank up and tell you that you've ranked up the mercenary level. You got to go back to where you initially started to keep that going. And as you keep going and getting the mercenary level up, you can have more common blades in your inventory, if you want to call it that. And it just makes things easier to manage, and it's just all in all a good idea. Let me see. I've talked about auto attack, I've talked about blades, combos, elemental break, gotta catch them all. The game, all in all, I could just say, once the battle system opens up and the blades and everything open up, it's so much to do. And another thing, I forgot about this, once you have a bunch of blades with you, you'll go out in the world and you'll see this little symbol. It's like a rock with an arrow around it or something like that. These are overworld things. Like, let's say you are somewhere where there's a waterfall, and there's a platform here, and there's a platform over here, and the waterfall's in between. You want to get over there to that treasure chest that's on the other side, but there's no way to get there. So you might need to have some ice blades with you, and somebody who has focus, and then it uses their overworld abilities, and they'll make an ice bridge out of the waterfall. You walk across the waterfall, get the stuff, and you're good to go. And there's a lot of that, and that's really opens up exploration quite a bit in this game. When you get a lot of blades, and you see you've been sending them out on the mercenary missions, and their overworld abilities start to increase. And it's like, hey, let me go back to this place and see if I can open up this treasure chest that said I need a lockpicking level 2 and focus level 3. And then you do it, all the blades pop up and they say their lines or whatever, and then you get to open up the chest. Or you get to burn down a tree to get past something, or you get to dive underwater to get to an underwater cavern. Or there's just so many different things and different interactions that you have with your blades. That once again kind of reminds me of Pokemon with HMs and everything. That's kind of what it puts me in the. It kind of reminds me of that. But Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is definitely a game that if you get past the bad voice acting in English, oh god.
Rex?
Pyra!
Here!
Cover me!
Got it.
Jin, leave him to me. Sorry, kid. I can't let the likes of you just claim her power for yourself. Everybody, go now! Quick!
Yeah, that happened 3 times in one cutscene. Yeah. The bad voice acting, you get past that, and you get past the slow trickle of tutorials that it gives you, and the game really opens up. The characters become very likable. You really start to care about what's going on within these characters' plight, and it's just such a good game that I really hope that you all give a chance. Don't think that the battle system is going to be that stale as it is in the very beginning of the game, because it starts off so bad. But once it opens up, I promise you, it is very, very fun. If you make it to about Chapter 3 or Chapter 4, and you still don't care and don't want to play the game anymore, yeah, I understand. I really wish the pacing of the game was a lot better, because it just takes too long to hook you, and I know they've lost a lot of people trying to play this game and just seeing that it really wasn't for them. But I assure you, keep going. Don't look at my first 2 live streams to see how bored I was with the game. Keep going. It's very, very fun and very worth it. I'm not going to tell you, as far as the voice acting goes, I'm not going to say that you need to play it in Japanese, because me personally, I prefer to play it in English because I don't want to sit there and read subtitles the whole day. I'm the same way when it comes to anime, which I don't watch much of anyway, but I would prefer to watch something that's in English. The voice actors are Irish, so the accents take a little bit of getting used to, and some of the delivery in the very beginning is really bad. But once you get past all that, it's great. Just stick with it. That's all I can say with the game. Stick with it, and I promise you, you'll start to have loads of fun with the game. That's my impressions. The game's great. I want to get back to it, and I'll probably do a little bit of live streaming here once I edit. And I think it'd be cool for you to see what the game actually turns into. But that's it. Until next time, everybody. Peace.
No place to dream, must